and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today we're going to be removing an old Waterslide decal and putting a new Waterslide decal on. The old one is right here. It's just part of a Stratocaster one that I threw on this parts caster years and years ago. I'm going to go ahead and scrape it off and put a proper, Fender branded logo on here. The controversy, surrounding doing this to a parts caster, I understand. I've got a whole video dedicated to that topic, which will be linked down below. You should check it out. I've spent a full year and a half kind of like pondering this before I decided there's a handful of instruments that I'm going to go ahead and do this to that are parts casters, just because I feel like it's a finishing touch. So anyway, moving right along, to remove a Waterslide decal that is not under lacquer. If the Waterslide decal is under the lacquer, you have to go through the whole process of sanding it out and then reapplying finish and getting your surface perfect again. Basically, you have to buff it and everything and make it smooth and look good. Because if you try to apply one over, a rough surface, it's going to look like garbage. Trust me, I've done it and the result's not that great. Anyway, the other thing to really keep in mind about Waterslide decals is that some require a clear coat of lacquer over them. If they were printed on an inkjet printer, they have to have clear coat put over the sticker before you put it in the water, or else the ink will just dissolve right off. So I want to say that right up front. The one that I have right here, though, was done on a laser printer. I've already applied one of these on another guitar. They're perfectly safe in the water without any prep work. So, with no further ado, let's go ahead and remove this. What I'm doing right now is I'm just dabbing a little bit of vinegar on the old Waterslide, and then I'm going to use a plastic razor blade to start scraping it off. And we'll see how quick this goes. If it doesn't go too quick, oh, it's coming off fast. I was going to say if it wasn't going to come off right away, I was going to go ahead and do it off camera. But I think we can just keep rolling. We'll just do this whole process. And there you go. I already have the old one. Let me get all the clear off here. The old one's gone. Take a quick look at that. And I will wipe it clean. We'll double check and make sure that we're ready to apply our new decal. And it's just that fast. If you've, if you have a Waterslide decal that was applied, let me get that out of the way so I don't get crap all over it, that was applied by yourself or someone else over the finish, it's really easy to remove them, especially if there's no finish put over them. In general, with water slides, my philosophy is if the next owner of the guitar, if the guitar does have a next owner, which is very rare in my case since I don't really get rid of guitars, it gives them the option of an easy removal. If you put lacquer over the top of it, it may give you kind of that factory finish, and maybe that's what you want, and that's fine. However, for myself, I always think about the person down the road who might someday have this instrument, and they might be like, I don't want that. It's a parts caster. I don't want that Fender logo on there. And it gives them the option of removing it. And you can also, put that as a selling point of the instrument. If, you're like, hey, I'm selling this parts caster, you can say, yes, it has a Fender logo on it, but it's easily removable. And I think that that's just kind of a courtesy. All right, let me check my surface here. I'm just going to grab another fresh paper towel here. And then we'll get ready to cut out our fresh Waterslide. This is kind of like best case scenario, very smooth operation here. So let's go ahead, and I've got my new Waterslide, and I'm going to cut it out. So you want to, obviously not cut into the sticker itself, the good stuff, but you also don't want to leave like a ton of, outline material on there either. You just want to cut around it so that you're just getting mainly the gist of the logo. You want to cut it clean so you don't have like weird, jagged corners and things like that. You know, I don't go into the heart of the logo too far. I know it's a sticker. When you look at it in the light, you'll know it's a sticker. And it's more just about kind of the vibe or the feel of being like, okay, yeah, you know, this is, I mean, I made this guitar with Fender licensed parts, so why shouldn't I have a Fender logo on it? All right, so now I've cut my decal to my liking. I'm going to kind of do like a little test fit here. This is very simple. It's just a Stratocaster headstock. This is a Stratocaster, you know, decal, and it should be very easy to get on. All right, we're gonna go ahead, and I've got a little basin here, and we're gonna fill it not super high with water, about a quarter inch of water in there, and then we'll put our water slide in and let that soak. It only takes, it only takes a few seconds to do this. I'll make sure that it's releasing there. Put a little bit more water in. There we go. All right, so after about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, your decal should begin to release from the paper. There, it's released now. All right, so you take the paper out with the decal. You go ahead and you get it positioned, and then what you want to do, I mean, it's why it's called a water slide, you're just sliding it off onto the headstock of the guitar. There we go. While it's still wet and has the water on it, you want to go ahead and get it positioned exactly how it should be oriented. And I think I'm going to slide that back just a hair, and then quite simply begin dabbing it a little bit. You want to dry it out a little bit. Make sure it doesn't have like a bunch of bubbles and nastiness. And you've got some time here to be able to still work with it as you begin to dry. Alright, there we go. And then it will begin to adhere. And that's where you begin getting into, okay, you're committed, you've got it in the right spot, and there you go. We got ourselves a Fender logo on our Stratocaster. Looks good to me. I'll take a picture of it once it's all dry and done and put it up. And that's how you do a water slide logo. It's that simple. All right, leave your thoughts in the comments. Should you do this to parts casters or not? Like I said, that video will be linked below, talking about the controversy and the inner turmoil of wrestling with that. Hit subscribe on your way out. Likes and shares are also greatly appreciated. And like I said, hit up the comments. You take care, and we'll see you next time.